So unfortunately, we have a COVID situation to talk about in today's video, unfortunately of the Outbreak variety, an outbreak that recently took place on a cruise ship in Australia. Now I'm going to go over some of the details, however I think there is a bigger point that needs to be made in this video. However, before we start, as you guys can see, I'm currently on the brand new MSC Seascape. We have the MSC Divina next to me, and well, I'm having a good time here. I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised about what's taking place on board this brand new cruise ship. Details will be coming out in the coming days. Now, also, I want to let all of you know that I have my first group cruise coming up on April 9th, 2023. I know it's a little early, it's not gonna be for everybody, but it will be taking place on board the Celebrity Beyond cruise ship. We'll be going to all kinds of amazing ports. I have things that are going to be taking place that you guys will not see on any other group cruise ever. The link will be in the description box below. So recently, some unfortunate news surfaced that on board the Celebrity Eclipse, they had an unconfirmed number of at least 1,500 people, passengers on board that have tested positive for COVID as the ship headed into Sydney, Australia. Now, earlier this year, well, even as early as about a month ago on November 12th, reports surfaced that on board the Majestic Princess, there were about 800 confirmed COVID cases on board over in that area. And you also have to look back to 2020, where we had the Ruby Princess that had COVID cases on board as it headed over to Australia. And my only question is, when it comes to this particular situation, even here in 2022, what the heck's going on in Australia? This is getting wild. As usual, all over the world right now, this is the talk of the town, or at least when it comes to the mainstream media, which is understandable because when something like this, it does make big headlines and it does attract a lot of people, get a lot of butts in seats when it comes to media, and a lot of people are keeping an eye on the news. Now, I will just say that when it comes to COVID at this point in 2022, nobody cares about outbreaks anymore. To be crystal clear, when I say that nobody cares about COVID outbreaks anymore, I mean in the sense that here in 2022 and as we sail into 2023, which is literally right around the corner, I believe that context is important. I've been saying this since 2020, 2021, and as we went into 2022. If it comes to an outbreak on board a cruise ship, how serious are we talking here? Is it just numbers of positive cases? How many false positives? How many false negatives are on board? Has anybody been hospitalized? And we hope not, but has anybody unfortunately passed away or succumbed to the illness? If none of that has happened, then, well, in my opinion, it's basically a non-event at this point. For me personally, as much as I hate to quote the stereotypical talking points when it came to COVID, I do believe it is fair at this point in the year and in COVID and the pandemic to say that I think we are all capable of deciding for ourselves what is best for us, what is best for our family, our friends, and just the well-being of everyone. People are vaccinated, well, overwhelmingly at this point, and people that are not vaccinated, well, they can't cruise now, and I do believe people overall are being responsible. When it comes to cruise ships, we all know if you've been on a cruise ship, because if you haven't, usually you'll hear the typical jargon, petri dish and trash can of the sea and all this other stuff, but the thing is, a cruise ship is probably one of the cleanest places you will ever be in the world. If you've seen all the crew hanging out, which they are never just hanging out, they are always constantly wiping down, sanitizing, and this is before COVID. So it's still crazy to me at this point that I see people in Reddit forums and on Facebook groups talking about how disgusting cruises are and how they're never going to sail on them and how they are a COVID cesspool and all this other BS. It doesn't make any sense. At this point, I do believe that cruising is still, well, it always has been some of the safest places to be, even during these crazy times. By that, of course, I mean COVID. From personal experience, this year here in 2022, I have been on just under 20 different cruises with multiple lines. I've been on board at the beginning when COVID times were still around and we had to get texted and we have to show our vaccination and we had to wear masks everywhere except for outside, of course. And I've also been around during the turnaround times where things started to somewhat return to normal. And as far as I can see, I'm still alive, I'm still here, and things seem to be perfectly safe and everybody seems to be having a good time, not even worrying about COVID. They're just cruising. Anyway, at this point during the pandemic, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I think we all can agree that we know what we need to do. We know what we should be doing, and not everyone is going to follow all the rules to a T. People are getting vaccinated. People are getting tested. They're taking care of themselves. They're being cautious. They're washing their hands, washy-washy, all that good stuff. So I think overall we're going to be all right. Now, I will report on this stuff. I don't want to say report because I'm not a reporter. Let's make that very, very clear. I hear that all the time. I don't want to like get to the point where I've seen people say that I think I'm talking about these things to spread fear or whatever. No, I just know a lot of you like the news. You want to hear what's going on, what the word on the 7 Seas is. So I will continue talking about this stuff, but I'm making it very clear as far as my stance. Just to let all of you know that to me, when it comes to these COVID cases and outbreaks on board a ship, it is basically a non-event at this point, and everybody should just continue going on their merry way with their vacation and enjoying themselves. That's all I got for today's video. Of course, guys, make sure you check out our group cruise event. Like I said, there is not a lot of time, so make sure you go ahead and get booked if you're going to come on board. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Also, check out touring plans if you want to book a cruise, a vacation, go to Disney World, any of that stuff. Link will be in the description box below. I appreciate all of you. I love all of you. I'll see you later. Now I'm going to go hang out in Nassau, Bahamas. Take it easy.